He might appear in your inbox as a handsome Army medic serving on a peacekeeping mission overseas, and he might even tell you about life back home on his farm. But the man in the pictures, Brian Denny, isn't the same person behind the keyboard.
I went on Facebook and typed in my name, and there were double digits in fake accounts that came up.
He's the victim of a bizarre case of identity theft.
I've been everybody from Frank Smith to Scott Glenn to Ricardo Montalban. I mean, you name it, there's been a fake profile built in. Sergeant, Colonel, Major. I went to West Point, VMI, and I am a leading humanitarian assistance mission in Iraq, Afghanistan. I'm in all those places doing all those things.
How much money has been taken from these various women in your name?
There's been a couple of 100,000. Probably my biggest contributors have been from Australia.
She was scammed out of tens of thousands of dollars. Local 10's Terrell Forney is live in West Miami-Dade with the exclusive and what the suspect had to say.
Lisa Miller is now in jail, charged with 2 first-degree felonies, accused of scamming a 74-year-old woman out of her life savings.
Oh my God, that's crazy. This is really, really insane.
We caught up with the accused thief as she was being arrested at her home in Sunny Isles Beach. Detectives say the victim unknowingly fell for a Facebook romance scam. Linda Bemis felt she was falling in love with a handsome man named Mr. Bravo, who was serving out a tour of duty in Afghanistan.
I thought he was there. I thought he was in Afghanistan.
But the person on the other end, say cops, was Miller. An arrest warrant says Bravo kept telling her that he was stuck in Afghanistan. He needed $50,000 to get his luggage truck through customs.
When I met Max, he was in Afghanistan with the UN peacekeeping forces. On Match.com, he's a very handsome man. I am in love. He said, I want you to be my wife. And I said, yes. But I have never actually met Max. I've never been anywhere near him. I've never even heard his voice.
Did it strike you odd that you're engaged to somebody you've never met?
Scammed by men they met online.
I've sent Max money.
$25,000 you're putting in a cornflakes box and shipping to Ghana.
Hello, all of my fabulous, beautiful people, and how are you all doing today? I hope that you're all doing very, very well. Hello, Joe. Why do you start work at 6 p.m. today? That's not fun. That's awful. I hate that. When I was working, I used to have to work sometimes because I was doing sales. So sometimes we would start at like noon and then I would be working until like 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. I hated that. I'd much rather go to work at like 6 in the morning. I would rather do your morning shift. I feel like the morning goes by so much faster at work than the afternoon or the evenings. So there's that. I'm sorry that you have to start work so late today. Today, we're going to be talking about military scams because there's some stuff in the news right now about military scams. The military is actually trying to do better, I guess, especially the U.S. military. They are trying to do better right now. And they're talking about all of the risks on social media and how they can kind of like protect people better. And so I thought it would be good if today we basically went through some romance scams that use the military. For me, a romance scam, catfishing, is pretty disgusting on its own. Have to prove we can run for 24 hours straight. Like, okay. I'm sorry, Joe. I hope it goes well. And then you don't have to do it again for like another year or however long it goes. I'm sure you have to prove it every like so often. So I wanted to tell you guys the thing about catfishing and romance scams is they're gross, right? But the issue with them is that, the thing with them is that usually there's a perp and then there's a victim. Now, oftentimes someone's pictures will be stolen for this, but not always. Not always. And so it's usually a perp and one victim crime. I feel like when it comes to the military romance scams, though, no matter what, there is more than one victim here. Because for the most part, these guys always steal an identity. Now, and this is the difference. This is what I mean. So with a normal romance catfishing scams, a lot of times people will just steal the picture of someone and then they'll make up an identity, for example. And so, like, yeah, your picture's stolen. Yes, that's victimizing when you're having your picture or your information used to catfish people. I would know. I've had that happen to me. And then literally, like, that sucks. But they don't tend to take on your name, your occupation, and every single thing about yourself. Most of the time, they don't like steal your whole identity in order to catfish the person. But unfortunately, when it comes to the military romance scams, 9 times out of 10, it's not a catfish of someone that's made up with, for example, like just a picture stolen and then the person is completely fictional. These are the scams where someone will actually steal the identity of someone in the military. So they will take their name, or if they're doing a fake name, they are taking their picture. They do often take their identity a lot more than other catfish scams. And because of that, and because of the whole lying about valor thing, I feel like these are the worst possible romance scams ever that someone could commit to someone. I feel like it is the bottom of the barrel thing that you could possibly ever do to somebody. So I have some stories for us today. At the beginning of this, you saw some clips of some people in the past that have been scammed by people that are pretending to be in the military. Hey, guys in uniform are hot. A lot of people want a military dude. All right, so I am going to share with you guys a few more stories of people that unfortunately are being victimized by this scam. And then we are going to talk about what the military is doing to stop this, as well as how to protect you, how to protect a loved one. Now, here's the thing. A lot of people are looking at this stream and they're like, well, like, why do I have to like watch this stream? I'm married. Like, I've been married for almost 9 years now. Mm-hmm. For 9 years now. Mm-hmm. Yes, I have. I just said almost because I forgot I just had my anniversary just now because I'm so used to saying almost. Now my husband's going to murder me when I get off this stream. So, you know, if tomorrow's video doesn't show up, then you know why. But that was a joke. Do not call the police on my husband. Bells. So I want to go through some of these scams because I know you're looking and you're like, listen, I've been married. These aren't going to affect me, but hello, I'm sure you have friends and family out there that maybe they're looking for love, or you never know what could happen in future. Okay. It's always good to know about the scams that are out there, what's going on with them. And apparently this stuff is pretty juicy because Dr. Phil does a lot of these episodes and he isn't actually out here trying to help people. He just be exposing people and exploiting things. So people apparently like to watch this shit. I personally kind of like them too. I won't even lie. Those are my favorite Dr. Phil's, is when somebody is in a romance scam, but then they're also the most heartbreaking because I always feel so awful, of course, for usually the elderly person that's scammed. And that's the crappy thing about these romance scams. They're usually done to the elderly. So the latest news with this scam just came out recently. There's a concerned daughter who is sharing a romance scam warning. So I think that we should watch it and see what they have to say, because I mean, obviously their loved one has been scammed by this. Obviously, I'm going to assume.
Love with someone you've met online. And the FBI says sometimes people take advantage of that trust.
A woman who turned 1011 is worried that's what happened to her mom who lives in our area. She reached out to us for help because her mom may be out tens of thousands of dollars over a fake relationship. Our Bailey Bishop has sworn this turned into an 11 story. Bailey.
Cole, Kelsey, I sat down with that daughter for an interview, but you'll only hear her voice. And we're going to use a pseudonym
Sorry,
to
Joe.
protect her family's identity. She reached out to share their story, hoping to help her mom and help prevent romance scams from happening to others.
It's horrible.
This is the voice of a very worried daughter who says because of what her family is going through, she doesn't sleep anymore.
It's heartbreaking. It really is.
Instead, she worries about her mom, who lives in the 1011 viewing area. Tammy believes her mom is the victim of a romance scam. Her mom insists she's in an online relationship with retired 4-star General Michael X. Garrett. The relationship sparked after Tammy's dad died of COVID-19 after 45 years of marriage.
She found this Michael guy.
Oh, man!
And how much he loved her and couldn't live without her. You know, he's got a lot of money. He's going to take me away. We're going to live by the beach somewhere.
Tammy's mom believes her relationship with Michael X. Garrett is real and doesn't think she's being scammed. But we found several red flags that lead us to believe that man isn't who he says he is. First, a reverse image search of a photo sent to Tammy by her mom leads to an official military Facebook page, as well as a post showing photos commonly used by scammers. His profile on his Facebook and Twitter show multiple photos of his wife, including this one from early September. In addition, a Google search of Michael X. Garrett scam turns up multiple pages that show examples of Garrett's name being used in the scam.
This poor dude.
The U.S. Army Forces Command also replied in a tweet to someone else who said General Garrett was chatting with them on Messenger, saying it's a scam. I reached out to the real Michael X. Garrett, but haven't heard back. Despite these warning signs, Tammy says the apparent scammer has convinced her mom to send him thousands of dollars.
I'm thinking close to $80,000 that she has sent him. And that's a lot of money. She now has her house on the market to be sold.
Tammy says her mom has sold the family's rental property and sent off several checks to random addresses and names after getting
oh
what they
my
believe to
God.
be a fake check for $1.5 million from who she believes to be Garrett. I spoke to two of Tammy's siblings who told us the same things and shared the same concerns. They say their mom will no longer listen to their warnings.
When you tell her that it's not real, she yells at you, hangs up, and won't talk to you for a while.
FBI special agent in charge of the Omaha field office, Eugene Cowell, says unfortunately, romance scams are common.
A perpetrator deceives a victim into believing they're in a trusting, romantic, loving relationship. But really, the entire time the perpetrator is doing this for
Yeah, so that's the sad story with that one, is that the mom is being scammed. The daughters are trying to like tell her, and of course she just can't hear it. Joe, we need to talk about that. Like, really, the Wheel of Fortune app it's gone rogue, has it? Everybody's on there trying to pick up people. That's just weird to me. But yeah, the funny thing is, even if you're married, you're not necessarily like safe from them reaching out to you. The people in the pictures that get used end up being victims just as much as the people that lose money. Yes, they do, especially with these military ones, because as I said at the beginning, these are the ones where their whole identity will be stolen. Not just like a picture oftentimes. They also will steal their name. They'll also steal like where they are, their rank or whatever in the army, in the military. They hijack everything. And it could probably cause relationship issues. I mean, if you're in a relationship and maybe you don't have the best trust or something, and then someone is constantly contacting your home going, hey, your guy's reaching out to me, asking me to send him money and stuff. I mean, I guess that could cause relationship issues, which is too bad because it's kind of like, well, it's not his fault if his picture's being used in the freaking scam. And that's the thing, is that even these people like that have their pictures used, it's almost harder for them to have it stop. Once it's used by one person, they end up almost being added to like a list. So it's like, oh, this guy, his picture works. I used this picture. I used his name. I used his military stuff. And I actually did have a bunch of money sent to me. I swear to God, these scammers all talk on friggin' Hangouts and stuff and like send the pictures around. And then you'll notice there'll be 500 million accounts made with this one guy's picture. And how do you have that taken down? You know what I mean? It becomes impossible to actually stop your picture from being used. So in a way, sometimes they end up being victims more so because of that. The men are all widowers with teenage daughters. On the Wheel of Fortune app, yeah, we're going to get into what the military guys, like scam guys, usually say as well, because there is certain things that they will say that is all very, very similar. So I just want to go through some more stories here from this amazing article that I found that is talking about romance scams using the military. It's actually on socialcatfish.com. Go check that out. It's an interesting website. So we interviewed Leah Peterson, an ex-intelligence officer who was married to her husband, Paul, an active duty service member. He passed away while he was active duty from cancer 5 years ago. In January of this year, she decided she was ready to start looking for some companionship, some friendship, somebody to hold hands with. And it's unfortunate, but those who are widowers tend to be the most vulnerable, the most that they pick on. So the only thing she could figure out was to go online to a dating site. She ended up on OkCupid, and that started the whole fun time of dealing with an OkCupid scam. He was able to fool this ex-intelligence officer. So, and this is what I mean. A lot of people are like, oh, well, you got to be dumb to fall for something like this. No, this was an ex-intelligence officer. And this scammer fooled by faking a $3 million balance in his bank account. She thought that since he had the money in his bank account, which I'm sure you could forge that easily, it was okay to lend him a bunch of money because eventually she would get it back. She would get emails about the supposed money he needed for his job and then pay him the amounts of money to his bank account. Every time she thought she sent enough money, she would get asked for even more money for customs fees, payport fees, and she fell for all of it until it basically drained her bank account. Stephanie O'Neill is a woman from New York who was talking to a man she met on Instagram. They built a year-long relationship online where he scammed her out of $200,000. It's always such a big number. Like, I'm like, okay, I'm like hardly ever. It's like the most money I've ever had in my life, but okay, just pass it over to a scammer, sis. She had fallen deeply in love with him during this relationship to the point where she was planning her wedding with the scammer. They had picked out their wedding colors. She picked out her dress, and he even picked out the ring and sent her pictures of it, which, can I just say, that should be a red flag. Like, don't take pictures of a ring, all right? The catfish victim caught on when she was familiar with military rules, and something he said just didn't make sense to her. And if that ever happens, follow your intuition. If someone ever says something to you and you're like, there's a good reason. He told her that he needed help paying for a weapon he lost, right? But she knew that you don't have to pay for your weapon. Like, the military provides all of that for you. Even if you lose it, there's not like a security deposit on it. She told him that it's either one, he gets in trouble depending on your rank and you'll get extra duty, or two, you're going to get discharged. Unless you're negligent, you don't have to pay for your weapon. She accused him of lying to her, but he tried to reassure her that he would never lie to her. And I think even if, like, you would have to be extremely negligent to have to pay for your weapon. I'm pretty sure you would have to like break it or so, like right in front of the sergeant there, and him be telling you like, hey, could you not do that, in order for them to be like, okay, you got to pay for this. She then tried to ask him about Article 15, which states that a commanding officer has the power to punish individuals for minor offenses committed. Minor offenses do not usually include misconduct. If misconduct were tried by a general court-martial, it could be punished by dishonorable discharge or confinement for more than 1 year. Since he did not know what Article 15 was, and which I'm assuming like everyone in the military would then know what that is, it seems pretty standard, and saw the real guy's photo on a military fiance Facebook group as a photo most used by scammers, she knew he was fake. And I think that's a good thing to point out too, is that if you're looking for love, and you're like in these groups, just pay attention. Go and join some of those Facebook groups too, and just pay attention for the, posts about these guys. Yes, it is. It is stolen valor. It's easy to fake. I feel like bank accounts especially are easy to fake. I do. I think that you could fake, like I watch a lot of the scam catcher guys. They fake bank accounts to trick the scammers into thinking they have a lot of money to try to go delete all their files and stuff, right? So I know you could fake that like so easily, and that's the hard thing too, is it's like there almost is no way to ensure that someone has that money in their bank account these days. This is the story of Christine. Christine from Pennsylvania. She was, I don't know why I said that like Transylvania, by the way. I am so sorry to all of the people that live there. She was talking to a guy named David Porter on Mingle 2, who said he was in the, wait, there's a Mingle 2? What happened to Mingle 1? I need to know the story with this now. I haven't really like, I found my husband on Facebook. Well, he found me on Facebook, a normal app, not a dating app. And it was because we all knew the same people. So it was like an in real life thing. I don't get the whole like, anyway. Who said he was in the army and was stationed in Nigeria? The Nigerian War? This Nigerian romance scammer had scammed her for months before finally admitting that he was a scammer who had taken advantage of her bank account. Do you know what? At least you got him to admit it, though. I mean, let's be real. How often does that happen? She had dealt with many toxic relationships and found comfort in the sweet things the romance scammer would say to her. And that's the sad thing, is that when you are someone that's been in a lot of toxic relationships, I think it can sometimes be a lot easier to fall into the love bombing because you're just not used to being told nice things about yourself. I even remember like it being with my husband at first. It was very hard to be with somebody that like doted on me instead of just was abusive or something, So I think that makes sense to me. And the love bombing, you would be able to fall for it more. She was also lured in by his good looks, which are fake. He must have stolen a picture, and military background, which again is fake, stolen valor, thinking that it was sexy and badass that he knew how to use a sniper. I mean, that is sexy and badass, right? The Nigerian romance scammer felt guilty for his actions and came clean to Christine. He came clean to Christine that he had been scamming her. Again, I'm a little in disbelief that the guy actually was like, I'm so sorry, I've been scamming you. He admitted that he wasn't the guy in the pictures, but that he still loved her. Is that what happened? The scammer actually fell for the woman. That's what we're looking. Mingle 1 is for the incels. That's where Nicolo gets his feet pics from. But like, is that what happened here? Did this scammer like actually fall in love with the woman he was supposed to be scamming? And then he was like, maybe if I admit it and I like tell her, like, hey, I'm the Nigerian prince scammer, basically, then she'll be like, that's cool, dude. I can get past that. We can still be in love. Well, I don't have to worry about anyone stealing my photo. Why not, Joe? They could steal it. You never know. All right? They need average Joes too. I'm just, oh man, I'm laughing at the fact that I'm pretty sure that this scammer fell in love with this woman and then came clean to her. But probably just to scam her as himself. I mean, let's be real, right? That's how this is gonna end. This seems unlikely to be real. I've seen where the women have figured it out, and the scammer will say that, yeah, to try and keep things going and get more money. See, and that's what I mean. Like, I wonder what makes them go, instead, like, do they feel guilty for like using some dude's picture or something? So they're like, instead of doing a 2-victim crime, I only want 1 victim here. So I'm going to tell her who I actually am here in Nigeria, and then hopefully she'll still let me scam her. Like, wait, what is that? I just want to know how we got there. You know, I want to know what happened in this gentleman's mind here. This scammer pig's mind, I guess it would be a better description, where he was like, I got to tell her, because that's funny to me. He had stolen $7,000 from her at this point, and then she told him she hated him and never spoke to him again, which is the way that should go, by the way. Like, if you're ever talking to someone online, you're in an online little relationship, and then the guy's like, oh, by the way, I'm actually a Nigerian scammer. This is my name. I was just trying to scam you out of money, but, you know, I fell in love with you. Be like, no, fuck you. Have a nice life. That's the right way to respond to that. Judy Vaughn was a woman from South Carolina. She was from South Carolina, who was in an online relationship with a guy named James Hackett. Jeez, what a white dude name. She met him on Plenty of Fish, a white dude place, after her husband of 38 years passed away. And that's a running theme. Like I said, a lot of them seem to be people that lost husbands. They're widowers. He claimed to be a military man stationed in Afghanistan and talked to him for 3 years. The gross thing about them being widowers is, really think about that for a second. So you're someone that's married for several years, husband of 38 years. He passes. That's like probably the worst thing you can go through in life, other than losing your child, is losing your spouse. So you're like hella vulnerable. It probably takes a really long time to get over. Takes a really long time to, like, you know, want to get to the point where you want to start dating again. Probably takes a lot for you to put yourself out there again. And then when you do, some fucking asshat, right, in like Nigeria or Afghanistan takes advantage of that and scams you, which honestly then would kind of screw that person up more. Now those trust issues, they're done. So it's just a really disgustingly deep crime. It's gross. I hate this. Something seemed off to this woman because he claimed to be a military man stationed in Afghanistan, and it's like 3 years, and then he's constantly asking her for money. At one point, she was sending him all of her disability and Social Security checks. Oh, for fuck's sakes. So this person obviously does not have the money. They're on social assistance, being scammed too. Jesus fuck. Not only are they a widower and gone through that, but then they're also on social assistance. So they don't even have the money to give these assholes, right? Like, ugh. Oh, look at that. Redford is live. It's usually not even a single scammer anymore. They usually work in teams, according to Scamfish and other sites. Yeah, they're usually an entire call center now. They could be anywhere from one person, like, it used to be a single scammer. So it could still be a single scammer. But for the most part, at this point, they're a whole fucking call center. A lot of the scammers on here even have gone and had a lot of these like call centers shut down where they do a lot of the call scams and whatnot. But those are the same guys that do these too. Right? They'll have like a whole operation going. Which is again why when someone has their picture stolen and it works, right? You'll see it pop up on 500 other accounts. Because like you just said, it's not just one person. No. It's like a whole industry. A whole industry of these scammers in a call center somewhere. So then you got 20 guys all using the same picture, right? Oh no. Yeah. Yeah. Disability and social security checks. And she was sending him those so that he could save up to come back home. So he's basically telling her that he's like stuck there or whatever, which that's like a big one. Is like, I'm stuck out in Afghanistan or like Nigeria, even though I'm in the military and they sent me out here. They left me stranded here now and I need your money to come home. Like, just know that wouldn't be a thing, right? The question kept ringing in her head, was he telling the truth or is he really a scammer? If that question goes into your head, I'm assuming that something has happened that's led you to think that. So the answer is probably that he's a scammer. Our search specialist, Linny, was able to answer this question from her by running an in-depth search on James. She found out that his actual location was in Lagos, Nigeria, and that the same picture was used to create thousands of fake profiles. She thought it was odd that he was asking for money for leave and food when the military pays for these things for you. Exactly. And they would go searching for you if you ever did get lost somehow and like stranded somewhere. They wouldn't just leave the dude out there. Okay, that's not going to happen. They won't ask you to pay for anything, right? So they paid for it all. This went to prove that Judy was actually talking to a scammer, right? And so just know that as well. In this heartbreaking story, we talked to Betty Jean, who was going through a rough time after being scammed. She asked her friends and family for money and had sold her car and house to pay the romance scammer, thinking that it was true love and that he would buy her a nicer car and house. That's disgusting. Having people sell their investments like that. Like, this woman is homeless now because of this asshole. However, after she lost everything, she started to realize that he was most likely a Nigerian romance scammer. Oh, God. For the last 3 to 4 months, she keeps trying to tell him how she knows he's a romance scammer, but he denies it every single time, saying he still loves her. Because she sold her house to give the scammer money, she currently lives in a fucking tent. She became super depressed because of this situation and has even tried to unalive herself. The doctors had to prescribe her with antidepressant medication. Lord, what an awful story. That just depressed the fuck out of me. She met someone else online. Yay! It has a happy ending. And has been able to video chat with him on a daily basis. She has told him about her past with being scammed, and he reassures her he would never do that to her. He has not asked for money yet, and she doesn't think he ever will. Probably not, because you've seen him on the video. That's another thing that's a big red flag too, is when you're like, hey, can I see you on video? And then they're like, no, you can never see me on video. Avoid all men with big white capes. Right. So everyone keeps on bringing up the fact that there are two victims to this scam. The person that, of course, is being scammed, and then the person whose pictures are being used. So let's take a minute and just talk about that for a moment and why that happens. Terry Sorrells is an active duty first sergeant logistics specialist in the Army who is a brand ambassador for Military Fresh. He is an influencer to his many Instagram followers, which has also made him famous in the catfishing world. Scammers have made thousands of fake profile based on Terry's photos, targeting thousands of women's wallets and even some gay men's wallets. They will target anyone. Like, they could be a straight dude in a call center. Doesn't matter. They're still going to target a gay guy if he's willing to take his wallet out. This isn't about love, right? It's about money. We estimated, or even like sexual attraction. Again, it's about money. We estimated that $1 million was made off the fake profile scamming these innocent victims, which again, I think that it, as the person whose picture gets used, you feel like a piece of shit, right? You end up almost feeling guilty for these scams that are being committed, and it's not you. It's not your fault. Like, you're not doing anything wrong, but of course, your picture is being used, so people are probably reaching out to you like, hey, man, you scammed me. I found out who you actually are, and then you're going, no, actually, sorry. I'm just, like, being used. And then you feel like a piece of shit, right? I broke the camera on my phone. Yeah, that's a big one. I actually did break the camera on my laptop, though. My daughter broke the laptop by accident. It fell off the table. She hit it when she was gaming. Anyway, it's a long story, I guess. But I do need a new one. So, like, I think that that's probably the worst thing about this, too. Is that you have, like, all this misplaced guilt on you as one of the men that are being used on this. And you're probably pretty angry that someone's stealing your valor. Like, I'm just saying, like, that would piss me off. Scammers use military men's profiles all the time when they create fake profiles. Military men are probably the biggest victims of this scam, of the obviously, right? Because none of them are safe. This allows for the scammer to pretend they are deployed in another country so that the women they are talking to never has to meet in person. They also know that a lot of women are attracted to and go after military men because the uniforms are sexy, meaning that women will rarely say no, and bald men are sexy when it comes to giving them a chance at online dating. Terry's advice to those who are looking into online dating is to pay attention to the story the scammer tells you. A military man is able to call you and video chat with you using their cell phones. They have access to Wi-Fi, and the military pays for them to get deployed to wherever the military says. If someone is telling you otherwise, they aren't really in the military and are just looking to catfish you. Why? Scammers choose pictures of men in uniforms as a sign of proof that they are in the military like they proclaim. They pretend that the person in the picture is them, and since the man in the photo has a uniform on, the victim thinks it's actually them wearing the uniform. Since the victim sees multiple pictures of them, they assume the scammer is telling them the truth and has no reason not to believe them. These days, checking to see if people have a lot of pictures to be like, oh, this is a real account, doesn't work. So, now I just want to talk for a minute about what the military is actually doing. I miss best singing and dancing on camera during the streams. We are doing a stream tonight, by the way, on Passive over on the Recovering Hunbots channel. I believe it's going to be at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. First check from the TDC goes, yes, Tiny Dinger Condoms. They are sponsoring, which actually reminds me, I have to play their ad because it's been a little while. So let's take a moment for a little ad break, shall we? Today's video is sponsored by Tiny Dinger Condoms, a YouTube streamer's favorite brand. Are you a male streamer on the YouTube platform? Do you use your community like a dating app? Do you enjoy flying women to you for escapades and inviting them to streamer houses when they didn't even stream just so you can get with them under the guise of working? Do you love to harass and stalk women who don't want to be in your community anymore or who found out about the size of your dinger? It's okay. It still works. In fact, it works so well, I bet when you fly a woman out, you can get her drunk in a motel, try to coerce her into sex all night, have her tell you no twice, go wank off in a bathroom, which you'll brag about to women in future and claim it means you have good stamina, come out and bug her more until she agrees and says, just do whatever you want to get it over with. So, what will you grab for when she finally gives in to these constant advances? We got you, bruh! We know that you'll be all about it! Tiny Dinger Condoms, the best condom brand on the web for those micro penises, for the men who love to use their little dingers even after she says no. Heck, even twice. When you reach over and grab for a box of these, she will think, wow, I want to be raped by a man who uses a tiny dinger condom. And she will give in to the advances no matter what. Then, Tiny Dinger Condoms will ensure she never gets pregnant as it kills any sperm left in existence. You don't want another kid, you probably forgot about one you have already. So, be sure to buy Tiny Dinger Condoms today. Located at your CVS Pharmacy, Shoppers Drug Mart, Rexall, all of the pharmacies around your area, and hidden in your favorite streamer's nightstand. Don't worry, they're all the same. Thank you so much to Tiny Dinger Condoms for sponsoring this video, my community tab post, and my entire channel. I appreciate you. Now, back to the video.
This is turning into a rape thing real fast.
Or stream, whatever. I started to just say content. So I want to take a minute now and talk about what it is that the Army is apparently doing a little bit of, because they finally have a report on this, which I think is pretty cool that they're actually, I guess, finally paying attention to the fact that this is happening. Romance scam impersonations targeting U.S. military service members and their families are growing at an exponential rate. Service members filed more than 700,000 reports. 700,000 reports with FTC's 2021 Consumer Sentinel Network data book since 2018. Total losses tallied up to $718.7 million, nearly twice the amount reported over a 4-year period in the 2020 data book. The actual incidents and losses are likely in order of magnitude higher as most victims fail to report these crimes. From a national security perspective, these statistics should be a wake-up call. The scale of military romance scams degrade trust in the U.S. military and decreases readiness at a time when our competition with both Russia, as in the U.S. competition, I'm in Canada, please remember, with both Russia and China is at its highest points in decades. The U.S. and Russia, they're going to get, you U.S. people are going to get us all blown up, okay? Let's just say it. Romance and confidence scams are not the only objective of threats actions on social media. In August, right, an unknown threat actor copied the text of an official post from the U.S. Army regarding IPPSA, the Army's new integrated pay and personnel system, and reposted it under a fake profile of a current 4-star general, but changed the email address from army.mil to gmail.com. We can infer the goal of the threat actor responsible for the impersonation was to steal the PBI of U.S. Army soldiers, but for what purpose? Financial gain or espionage. And the issue is that with these romance scams going on, it almost like isn't a threat to security, right? It's like, how do you keep track of all of this stuff now? When you got U.S. military people just having their info stolen all over the internet. Right? So this is happening a lot. But they are saying that, like, leaders at all echelons must lead from the front on the use of social media. Military leaders tend to be shy regarding social media for obvious reasons. However, the U.S. Armed Forces must tell their story or someone else will tell it for them. More units and leaders need to establish official and verified social media profiles. Staying ahead of threats can be as easy as establishing your presence before they do it for you. And I think that maybe those that are in the military should be a little bit more careful about the pictures that they are posting online. so that they don't get stolen in as well, right? That does not mean everyone who is paid to wear the uniform should use cool guy photos as their profile pictures, unless the individual is using social media in an official manner. Under the EOP guidance, all service members should refrain from profile photos in uniform, which that could help, because when these scammers are looking for people, obviously, to steal the photos of, they're looking for those guys that have themselves in the uniform on the profile picture, or using titles and ranks in their profiles. Other photos and posts should be made with strict privacy controls to limit the opportunities for scammers to lift and shift content to a fake profile or view posts that could affect OPSEC. Leaders must demonstrate responsible social media use by being present where their unit's members are and dissuade from them posting security clearance information. So, I mean, it's a little bit victim blaming again, but you do have to protect yourself, right? You always have to be protecting yourself. Take care, Joe. Go get a nap since you work at 6 p.m. I guess you could listen to us stream tonight, though, while you're working. There's that. So let's take a moment now and talk about the common signs of all military scammers and how we are going to, I guess, protect ourselves from this going forward, right? And how to protect loved ones. If you don't need to be protected, someone you know probably does. You probably have at least one friend dating, no matter what age you are. Common signs of all military scammers. They say they are on a peacekeeping mission in Syria, Afghanistan, or anywhere else. In all cases, they say they are looking for an honest woman. There is always personal deep trauma due to the death of their parents, wife, or husband who died under terrible conditions in a car accident, from cancer, or during childbirth. In this regard, they still have a child or children which are taken care of by a nanny or other guardian, which again is why they need to find a partner usually, right? That sets up that whole backstory. They fall in love almost immediately, which, you know, beware of that. They call you my love, my dear, or any other affectionate term almost immediately. Do not call me pet names. I will get mad at you. Unless you want me to get mad at you, then that's a great way to go about it. They tell you that they cannot wait to be with you, and then they never fucking video call or come visit. They claim that they cannot talk on the phone, see, or through webcam for security reasons, but then they can be all over the app posting pictures of themselves. You know what I mean? Just think about that for a moment. That makes no sense. They can send you a package, money, jewelry, via mail. They claim to be serving in the U.S. Armed Forces. However, their English and grammar do not correspond to those born and raised in the United States. Because, you know, you probably speak better English. How is it really? The military and their families are not paid money so they can go on vacation. No one is required to request a vacation on behalf of a soldier. Their boss will not correspond with you on behalf of a serviceman planning to go on vacation or doing anything else. The CEO will not be a member of the dating website. That's right. Military members do not pay money or taxes to guarantee communications or dismissal. The military does not need permission to marry. These are all things that you need to know because they use this, right? They'll be like, oh, well, we need permission to marry and all this. So just know that they don't. Military personnel does not need to pay for early retirement. All military personnel have medical insurance for themselves and their immediate family members, spouse, and children. Woo, excuse me. And that pays for their medical expenses during treatment at medical institutions around the world. Family and friends do not pay their medical expenses or for anything else. Okay, they're completely paid for, so they shouldn't even need to ask you for money. Military aircraft are not used to transport private vehicles. Military financial offices are not used to help military personnel buy or sell items of any kind. Military personnel based in war zones are not required to ask the population for money for food or the deployment of their troops. Again, they should never, ever need to ask anyone for money. The servicemen do not find large amounts of money and do not need your help to withdraw this money from the country. There is no way that they would have like a big, large sum of money that they can't get to in a bank account somewhere, so then they need you to lend them money. That's just not going to happen. Like I said, fully paid for while they're on tour. When they go out, fully paid for. Okay? They don't need anything. How to protect yourself or those you love from a military romantic scam. Never send money. Just don't send money to people over the internet. The end. Be extremely suspicious if you are asked for money for travel expenses, payment for communication services, or marriage, as well as payment for medical services through Western Union. Do your research. If you are starting an online relationship with someone, check the person out. Verify the information that they speak with those who understand this, for example, with a current or former soldier. So if they're like, listen, I'm deployed in Afghanistan right now for a peacekeeping mission. Is there even a goddamn peacekeeping mission in Afghanistan right now that they could be deployed to? You know, there's ways to kind of look into it. If they say, for example, I got injured because a bomb dropped on me in Nigeria and now I need help for medical expenses, go look on the news. Was a bomb actually dropped there? People injured? You know, that kind of thing. Make sure. Talk on the phone. Be very suspicious if you never manage to talk to a person on the phone or you are told that you cannot write or receive letters in the mail. Military personnel and women serving abroad often have, and are they not considered military personnel? We're different. Military personnel and those damn women serving abroad often have an APO or FPO mailing address. If there is internet, then a soldier will always be able to receive a letter in the mail. Yep. Fact check. Many of the negative allegations made regarding the military and the alleged lack of support and services provided to foreign troops are far from reality. Like I said, the military is not going to leave someone stranded somewhere where they would then need to like reach out to a family member or some random person on the internet who they apparently fell in love with to be like, I need to borrow 20 grand in order to make it home. It's not a thing. Check the fact. Do not use a third party. Be very suspicious if you are asked to send money or send property to a third party or company always. Often a company exists but has no idea or is not part of the fraud. Just like how the person whose pictures they steal have no idea that, you know, you're being scammed. Watch for African countries. Be very suspicious if the person you're texting with wants you to mail something to an African country. While some U.S. troops are stationed there, they are not numerous. Many scams come from Nigeria, unfortunately. A lot of these romance ones. Like I said, there's actual call centers there that run these. Watch out for grammar. Stay on top of common spelling, grammar, or language errors in emails because, again, if they are in the U.S. military, they would know how to speak proper English and write it well. Protect yourself. Be very suspicious of someone you have never met and who promises you their love at an incredible rate, okay? Just be careful of that. People don't fall in love that easily, especially with people over the internet that they've never met before. And they definitely don't need to ask you for thousands upon thousands of dollars for anything, because when they're in the military, everything is paid for. And I think that that's like the biggest thing that you can tell people is when they're in the military, everything is paid for. The military does actually, you know, treat their troops pretty good while they're fighting for them. I mean, as good as they can in those moments. So like I said, it's not like someone's going to end up stranded somewhere and then they're going to need to go and get a hold of you, some woman that they just met on OkCupid 3 weeks ago, to be like, please send me 20 grand. I got stranded. The military left me in Nigeria. I can't make it home. I need your 20 grand to get there. Like, just know that there is no way in hell that the military would leave their troops anywhere, for that matter. Like, they are not going to. If they don't have proof that the person has, like, passed away, they ain't just going to leave and, like, leave someone stranded. That seems to be a big one. It seems to be one of the biggest ones that they use. And they always set it up by telling people how crappy, quote, in quotes, the military treats them. So just, pay attention to that. I would say just don't date military guys online, but I mean, they're hot. What do you want me? I get it. I get it. So be careful out there. Make sure that you aren't scammed by these. And hey, if you're like me and you like to watch those are the only Dr. Phil's I like to watch, is when it's a catfishing one. Other than that, I feel like he's very useless. But at least he does research the people that get catfished. And, their friends and family can help them through it after they leave his exploitative stage, I guess. I am going to be releasing my Eckankar ebooklet review about divine creativity. We are doing tomorrow. Friday, I am releasing a video about cults of personalities. It's already up. Saturday, we are going to do a quick stream where I'm going to be talking about the RBC scam, which is the Royal Bank of Canada, because there is one that's happening right now. They just issued a warning about it, but it doesn't matter what bank you're with or where you are. This is the same scam over and over again, but they actually have shown the documents and whatnot. So I do want to bring that up. And then on Monday, we are talking about what Hun bots have to do when they're in MLMs. And that's the plan, Stan, for the next few days. So please do give the stream a like. Subscribe if you are new here. I discuss cults, commercial cults every Monday is MLM Monday. That's multi-level marketing. If you're not aware, not anti-men loving men. Although I have been accused of that in the past. Apparently that I didn't even know it was a thing. MLM, meaning anything other than multi-level marketing. And then there are people out there that don't know that it's a thing other than men loving men. It's interesting. Anyway, have a fabulous rest of your day. Take care. And, don't join a cult. Don't get scammed. Let your loved ones know. I know we all know someone single out there. And so it's just good to let people know to be careful of this, since it keeps resurfacing. This one's never going to go away. I feel like I said, it's really hard to control. Even the pictures that get stolen once they're released, it's hard to control. So be safe out there. And I will see you all tomorrow. Take care. Mwah. Bye. Today's video is brought to you by Tiny Dinger Condoms, a YouTube streamer's favorite brand. Do you think women lie about being sexually assaulted? Do you use your community like a dating app but only date women in other countries but flirt with other women the entire time? Then leave that e-girlfriend for another woman with a My Little Pony fetish that ends up being a dude who's catfishing you for 6 years as a sexy woman? Do you then post lolly of bubbles in your Discord after making sexual cartoons involving minors and claim you are not a nunce? Do you think Onision is innocent? Then we have the brand for you. You won't need to make Sims characters out of your community members anymore and impregnate them in some weird fetish game, or date men who love My Little Pony and the Powerpuff Girls when you have Tiny Dinger Condoms. Heck, you won't even need to wank it to Faith Vickers and Ethan Ralph's porn anymore. Bet you'll soon make your own with that sexy woman or man, the one who loves the Powerpuff Girls there. Just turn on the webcam and show that real live e-girl from OnlyFans, who I'm sure loves you just as much, that Tiny Dinger, and let her know that you use Tiny Dinger Condoms. The condoms that won't let your manliness hide when a man wants to come and do the anal slip and slide. Located at the CVS Pharmacy, Shoppers Drug Mart, Rexall, all of your local pharmacy brands, and hidden in your favorite streamer's nightstand, because don't worry, they're all the same. No more desperation with those condoms. Now, back to our video.